Like most of you, I've been interested in our presidential candidates and getting to know their.
The moment the gunshots echoed through Dealey Plaza, history froze. For the nation, it was the loss of a president. For Jacqueline Kennedy, it was the violent erasure of the one person who anchored her carefully constructed world. In the seconds after, while cameras captured chaos and disbelief, something else unfolded quietly, away from microphones and flashing bulbs. A woman who had spent her life mastering control found herself trapped inside a moment she could never escape. And when the cameras finally turned away, the real damage began. Jackie Kennedy would later say that November 22, 1963 never truly ended for her. Time fractured that day. She moved forward, yes, but always carrying the sound of the shot, the weight of blood, and the knowledge that nothing she did afterward could ever restore what was taken. The image the world remembers, the pink suit, the composed face, the silent dignity, hid a reality far darker than anyone understood. Jacqueline Lee Bouvier entered the world on July 28, 1929 in Southampton, New York, not as part of some carefully choreographed debut, but almost by accident. Her parents had planned Manhattan. Instead, a summer stay in the Hamptons altered the story. Even from birth, chance played a role in shaping her life. Her father, John Blackjack Bouvier III, was charming, reckless, magnetic, and unstable. Her mother, Janet Norton Lee, was disciplined, ambitious, and relentlessly concerned with appearances. Between them, Jackie learned two opposing lessons early: how to captivate and how to endure. From childhood, she understood that affection was unpredictable. Her father adored her but disappeared emotionally. Her mother demanded excellence but withheld warmth. Horses became her refuge. When she rode, she felt control where none existed at home. The rhythm of movement, the silence between breaths, the trust between rider and animal, these things taught her calm long before the world demanded it of her. The divorce of her parents did not just fracture the family, it fractured Jackie's sense of safety. She learned that love could vanish without warning, that stability was an illusion, and that public smiles often concealed private humiliation. That understanding would define her entire adult life. She grew into a woman of sharp intelligence, literary ambition, and quiet rebellion. While society expected her to marry well and disappear into comfort, Jackie wanted authorship. She studied at Vassar and later at George Washington University. She worked as a photographer and writer. She filed stories, asked questions, observed carefully. She understood power not as something loud, but as something shaped behind the scenes. When she met John F. Kennedy, she recognized both opportunity and danger. He was charismatic, driven, and deeply flawed. She did not enter the marriage blind. She entered it prepared. Jackie believed she could help build something larger than herself, even if it meant personal sacrifice, and sacrifice became her currency. As First Lady, she redefined the role. She treated image as strategy, culture as diplomacy, and history as responsibility. She restored the White House not for vanity, but for permanence. She brought artists, musicians, and intellectuals into the center of American life. She understood that legacy was not built through speeches alone, but through symbols that endured long after words faded. Yet behind the elegance was exhaustion. She endured miscarriages, invasive press attention, and the constant strain of protecting her children from a world that felt entitled to them. In August 1963, when her infant son Patrick died after just 3 days, something inside her broke permanently. She never fully recovered. She simply learned how to carry grief without allowing it to show. Then Dallas happened. The motorcade, the crowd, the sudden violence. Jackie instinctively climbed toward her husband, not understanding at first what had occurred. The blood, the sound, the irreversible certainty that followed. At the hospital, she refused to leave him. She stayed long after doctors had accepted the truth. She held his hand. She spoke to him even when there was no response. And then she made a decision that would haunt American memory forever.
she did not change her clothes. Publicly, she said she wanted people to see what had been done. Privately, those close to her would later reveal something more unsettling. She stayed in that suit because removing it felt like accepting his death, because the blood was proof he had existed, because once it was gone, the moment would become real in a way she was not ready to face. In the days that followed, Jackie operated on instinct and discipline alone. She designed a funeral that transformed personal grief into national myth. The riderless horse, the eternal flame, the silent walk behind the casket. She understood symbolism better than anyone alive. She knew the country needed a story to survive the trauma, and she gave them one, even as she quietly collapsed inside. What followed was not recovery, it was endurance. Jackie lived with profound psychological scars, nightmares, flashbacks, emotional detachment. She trusted almost no one. She feared for her children constantly. She feared the world she once helped shape, and she never fully believed she was safe again. In later years, she sought anonymity in work, publishing, editing, protecting other people's stories instead of reliving her own. She avoided interviews. She guarded her past fiercely. Even her second marriage was less about romance than survival. She needed protection, resources, distance from the American spotlight that had taken so much from her. When she died in 1994, many believed they understood her. They did not. Jackie Kennedy was not simply an icon of grace. She was a woman shaped by abandonment, sharpened by intelligence, and broken by a moment she could never outrun. She did not wear strength as armor, she carried it as obligation, and the price of that obligation followed her to the end. The cameras stopped rolling, the applause faded, the myth endured, but the woman inside it never truly escaped the sound of that shot.